Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Travel Coach Network podcast. It is I, Sahara Rozabor, the founder of the Travel Coach Network and the creator and instructor of the Travel Coach Certification Program. Today, we have Arlette Diedrichs. She is born and raised in the Netherlands, where she studied human geography and financial management. Arlette has traveled the world and has lived in several places such as Spain, Italy, and Curacao. Combining her two passions, travel and sustainability, Arlette is now a travel advisor and an advocate for sustainability and hospitality through her own website, The Blue Server. She believes the future of travel lies in sustainability, all for stakeholders, from local communities to hotels, and from governments to our tour operators. Arlette now lives with 3 children in Caicos, Portugal, where she enjoys surfing, yoga, and participating in dive cleanups. Arlette, thank you so much for joining us today. Did I say that city correctly?
Where I live, yeah. Thanks for having me, Sarah. I live in Cascais. It's near Lisbon in Portugal.
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Before we dive deeper into where your love of sustainability stem from, tell us where your passion for travel came from.
Yeah, my parents always loved to travel. So I think it came from my childhood. And my parents always loved going to places where there were the least tourists. So I remember we went to Turkey when I was younger. And now Turkey is a very popular destination. But back then it was quite adventurous. And we also went all the way to the east. So it was not just, fly into Turkey and just stay at a resort or something. We had to do like something really off the beaten path. And we went to Jordan and Indonesia. So I think it came from there. And also I lived in the Netherlands. I grew up in the Netherlands, but I never really liked it that much. I think it has to do a lot with the weather. So I was always like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in the Netherlands. I was always like determined to just leave the country. So I think it all came from that together. And yeah, so then I went on to travel by myself when I left my parents' house. And I still do so with my own children. And I hope I can give them that passion for travel as well.
I love it. Is there a destination that you can think of that really made a big impact on you or your life in some way?
I think I didn't realize it back then, but looking back now, I think Curacao made a big impact because when I was 16, one of my best friends, she was living there. So we went to visit her with 2 other friends over Christmas. And her father gave us as a Christmas present our PADI certification. So I had no idea. I grew up in a city, in a town far away from the ocean. So I had nothing. I had no passion or no connection to the oceans whatsoever. But then, so I did the PADI certification. I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool, all the corals and fish, but still I didn't really, it didn't really resonate much with me, but I was happy to have it. And then I just went on with my life. And then I went to Australia when I was, I was 25. And I did my advanced there, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty nice, So then I just kept on doing this diving thing. And so I never really realized it at that moment then when I did my PADI certification when I was 16, but it kind of influenced a lot of the decisions I made later in my life and the decisions that I still make today, because I feel so passionate about protecting our oceans. And I think it came from that very moment when I was 16, and I realized there's so much more to see and to, the beauty of what's underneath the water. So it's funny that sometimes we experience something and we don't realize how much of an impact it can have in our lives until like much later on.
Yeah, what a great Christmas present that was. It's very
yeah,
clever.
it's like one of the best presents, to give an experience instead of
yeah,
just
that's so thoughtful.
something.
your love of you, so you got that your certificate, your PADI certificate when you were 16. Where what happened in between? What were you starting to see? And one of the reasons why I really wanted to bring you on to the TCN podcast today is because the topics of sustainability and responsible tourism is growing tremendously, especially in the hospitality and tourism industry. And I know a lot of travel coaches, travel agents, travel professionals who are listening to this podcast and travelers are wanting to learn even the smallest ways that they can make a better impact on the planet, on the environment, on nature, on the communities that they travel to and that their clients travel to as well. But when you were traveling, what did you start to see and realize that grew your love of taking care of the ocean? Because like you said, you grew up in a place so far from the ocean that it wasn't really something you had thought about your whole life until you started diving more. Can you share more of that story and how you got started with the Blue Surfer?
Yes. So 4.5 years ago, I moved to Portugal, and I had surfed a couple of times, but it was never like a consistent thing. I thought it was too difficult to learn, and I was already too old to learn. But I started anyway, and I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it a lot. And it really gives, it really makes you mindful. You have to be in the moment. You cannot really think about your problems when you're out there. You're just thinking about the wave or like not getting smashed by a wave, especially in Portugal. So then I came up with, I already had a website with sustainable products, but for me, it didn't really sit well. I wanted to promote more experiences because for me, it was just more of a thing for me. Like experiences are, in my opinion, so much more important than buying things. And so I thought if I start a website that is more focused on sustainable experiences and tourism and travel, that would be amazing. So then I came up with the Blue Surfer because everybody's always talking about green, like sustainability is something green and everything is, and for me it's more like a blue thing because the oceans are so important in providing oxygen to us and providing livelihoods for so many people. So that's why I came up with the name the Blue Surfer, and it kind of evolved from there, that my love of my travel and my passion for sustainability came together. And then I became a travel advisor as well. So it's like every piece of the puzzle slowly is getting together. And I'm very passionate about, I wouldn't say like teaching, but like promoting more sustainable travel ways. I also visit hotels and I look at their sustainability efforts, and I advise them on how they can do like little things better. And I think it's really important to be more aware of also the little things that hotels or different actors in the hospitality industry can make, because especially in more developing countries, it's very hard for hotels, for example. Waste management systems are not in place. So you can be all about like recycling practices, but if there's no waste management in place, it's kind of hard, to implement it. Or like sustainable fish, like certain standards are not available in other parts of the world. So it's very hard to put a certification on that. But there are many ways in which we can, by ourselves already do things, to little changes that we can implement in our lives to make, things a little bit better. And people sometimes say, oh, it's so hard to be like sustainable, and travel cannot be sustainable because you have a footprint, whatsoever. But that's with everything in life, we will always have a certain footprint, but we can always try to make it a little bit less demanding on our planet. And one thing that I always say, and it's such an easy swap to do in your life, and I still see so many people not doing it, is to just bring your reusable bottle. Like it can save so many plastic bottles, and it's so easy. I always travel with my own bottle and then with my 3 kids' bottles, and they're also so used to it. And then when they offer a plastic water bottle, they just say, no, you know, we have our water. And there are plenty of ways also in countries where the water is maybe not so safe to drink. There are ways to get, you know, water not from a plastic water bottle. There are plenty of hotels that have filtered water if you just ask for it. What I usually do is I find the gym and then I fill up my water bottle there, because usually there's a water fountain in the gym. So I think that on every level, we can try to do something, from the individual to the hotels to governments. You know, it's all a big picture, but we all have our role to play. And it's just, you know, simple changes can also make a big impact if we all do it together.
Yeah, I saw on your website that you have the term ocean wellness, and I thought that's really interesting as well. Is that what you mean by when it comes to sustainability and taking better care of our oceans?
Yeah, because the health of our oceans is ultimately, you know, our health. We need healthy oceans to survive. If we don't have healthy oceans, we as a human species simply won't survive. And besides that, the important fact is also that a lot of people enjoy the oceans. You know, we go to the beach, we go snorkeling, we go diving, surfing. You know, there's a lot of tourism related to the oceans, to marine life. And again, then a lot of people have their livelihoods depending on this marine tourism. And it's a bit tricky because we all want to enjoy the beauty of the oceans, but at the same time, we're also destroying it. So, and also by traveling, obviously, it, you know, as tourists, we create more waste. You know, there are hotels that need to be built. So there's a bit of a pressure, and it's important to find the right balance in there, because tourism can also be something that can promote change in certain areas by, for example, what I always find a really helpful example is Project Hiu in Indonesia. And she goes on these boats, the fishermen boats. These fishermen, they fish sharks. So obviously that's a very it's depleting our oceans. So what she tries to do is not to blame the fishermen, but she helps them change their livelihood from fishermen to showing tourists around and show them the sharks. So then they can still make money off of sharks, but then alive instead of dead. And then the money comes in from tourism. So then tourism is actually something good that's happening, and it can help the ocean wellness. So it's not all bad news. We just have to think of ways that we can promote these changes and then use tourism in a better way, so to say.
I love that. I think that that's a really clever way to, it's really easy for people to be upset with those who cause the damage to the oceans or kill our nature and our marine life. But ultimately, I think people are doing it because they're trying to make money. They're trying to make a living. They're trying to feed their families. And that's what they know. But the fact that someone can go and educate them and then, you know, inspire them that there's other options, and, you know, making a shift in that, which is going to be a win-win for everyone, with the ocean and the workers themselves, and of course the tourism industry too, because like you said, the oceans are a big reasons why people travel. We travel to beaches and you know, diving. It's a whole, you know, there's all these different topics of why what people are looking for when it comes to traveling in the oceans, like surfers and stuff. I saw on your website you also talk about the term marine tourism, which I think is really interesting too. I haven't really put it that way because hotels and destinations are always marketing and selling their beaches and their oceans and everything too, but there's actual purpose to why people are gravitating towards those and how we make it better. You mentioned before that what you were doing on your website, instead of just offering sustainable types of products and recommendations to more of an experience. Can you share more about what those might look like or give an example of one?
Yeah, so it's just in general experience like traveling. So that on my website, I focus on sustainable travel, like tips, how to be more sustainable, but I also highlight sustainable destinations and hotels that go the extra mile to be a bit more sustainable. So that's what I focus on my website, The Blue Surfer. And on my Instagram, I also, try to convey that same message because nowadays, I don't know, some people don't really read blogs anymore, I think. So then it's easier to package it in a video to still get the message across. Yeah, so it's not a specific experience, it's more the whole experience of travel, so to say.
No, that totally makes sense because it's, behavioral change overall that needs to happen. It's not one little act or a one-time thing that you can do when it comes to making a more positive impact on our environments and our oceans too. You also recently joined the Travel Coach certification program, the World of Travel Coaching. So we're so excited to work with you in there and bring you into the community, and even learn from you. You're going to be one of our speakers at our Women Thrive Through Travel Mastermind virtual event at the end of May. So I cannot wait for you to be giving more tips and education for our listeners at our event. And our attendees on, how we can make a better impact on our oceans and really promote ocean wellness as well too. So Arlette, you're doing really incredible things. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about today yet that you want to tell our listeners, or if not, how can they find and follow you?
Yeah, so I think we covered quite a lot of subjects now. Yeah, I'm really excited also to start working with the Travel Coach Network course and give my clients some extra, for me, it still sounds a bit weird, but coaching, I think you would say. I think especially after COVID, people have started to change the way they see travel. First it was more like, I want to see things, and it was more like from the me perspective. Now it's more, I think it has more to do with connection to oneself, connection to nature, connection to other communities. So I really feel that there's like a shift happening. People are also they're asking for hospitality providers that are more sustainable. People don't feel comfortable anymore just going to any hotel without, knowing that they do at least something about sustainability. So I really feel that there's a shift coming, and I'm obviously really happy about that. And I can't wait to learn more myself about travel advising, travel coaching in general, but also about, as you said, ocean wellness and wellness for our clients, because I'm also learning. I love to read articles and books, so I'm always trying to keep up with all the news. And I'm really happy that this shift is happening for the better. So that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. And so people can find me. My website is thebluesurfer.com. And my Instagram is at @the.blue.surfer. But if you type in The Blue Surfer, you can also find it. So those are my social channels. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We will include all of those in the show notes for us. And you can also find more about Arlette and how you can connect with her on the Women Thrive Through Travel Master Friend event landing page on the TCN website as well. But before we end here, Arlette, I always like to ask, is there a fun fact about yourself? It doesn't have to be business or travel related that you could share with our audience.
Yeah, I am really, really scared of jellyfish. So when I see a jellyfish in the water, I kind of like get a panic attack. While I see a shark, I'm like, oh, he's so cute. So it's a bit of a weird thing, maybe for some people.
Have you ever been
people, I guess
stung by a jellyfish?
Yeah, but not like seriously, not by a box jellyfish or anything. I don't know. It just like it freaks me out.
I mean, that makes total sense. I don't think many people want to play much with jellyfish. They can be pretty cool looking, but definitely not something you want swimming around you. But Arlette, thank you so much for joining us today. It was such a pleasure to chat with you, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from you at our WIT event on May 28th. And you will find all of Arlette's links to her social media and her website in our show notes. You'll also find in our show notes the links to follow us on Instagram at the Travel Coach Network, and visit us on thetravelcoachnetwork.com. Come give us a hello. You can also come give us a hello in our TCN Global Community on Facebook. The link for that and your free beginner's guide to travel coaching is also in the show notes for every episode. And if you know anyone who might be interested in travel coaching, be sure to send them our way to our podcast. We truly appreciate it. And until next time, my fellow wanderers, bye for now.